I'm Faye. We're going to be talking about boundaries with you today. We all feel different degrees of comfort and discomfort in various situations, and being able to set clear boundaries is a key skill to have when navigating any kind of relationship. Setting boundaries and talking about them in our friendships and relationships is a great way to make sure that each person's needs are being met and you feel safe in your relationships.
Yeah, the best way to set these boundaries is to really check in with yourself and see what makes you feel comfortable. And then once you know how you feel, then you can communicate this to your friends and partners and talk about your boundaries.
We're going to talk about 3 different types of boundaries that can be helpful to think about in our relationships. And they are emotional boundaries, physical boundaries, and digital boundaries. Arwen, what are some examples of emotional boundaries?
So emotional boundaries are things like how much personal information you're comfortable sharing in relationships, or how soon in romantic relationships you're willing to say the L word. But this is also things like how much alone time you need in friendships and in like romantic partnerships.
What about physical boundaries?
So physical boundaries are things like how comfortable you are hugging and touching other people, how close you're willing to stand to a stranger when you're talking to them, like how much space you need between you, and also things like how soon you feel comfortable getting intimate with a romantic partner.
So something we don't always think about in our relationships in terms of boundaries are digital boundaries. What are some examples of those?
So this is things like how comfortable you are sharing your password with friends and with partners. If you are willing to post your relationship status somewhere, or if you want to share a couple pic on Instagram, it's kind of like seeing if that's cool and checking in with each other. But it's also things too, like what you're willing to send and receive via text message. So this can be how comfortable you are sending and receiving nudes, or just kind of like personal information over Snapchat or over Instagram message or something like that.
Talking about boundaries and relationships can be really tough, but it's super important to remember that your feelings and boundaries are valid and worth acknowledging.
Yeah, and it's good to remember that no one's a mind reader. So it's important to let people know what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. The healthiest relationships are those where people respect each other's boundaries and everyone feels happy and comfortable and able to talk about their needs. If you're in a relationship where someone asks you to do something that you just doesn't feel right, or they try to control you in some way, that's when you get to say that something isn't healthy for you.
It's also okay for boundaries to change over time. Just because you felt comfortable with something at the beginning of a relationship doesn't mean that you have to stick with that forever. You can communicate if things change. The reverse is also true. There may be something that you're okay with at the beginning of a dating relationship or friendship, but with time and trust, you become more comfortable with it.
Yeah, and a good way to think about this are like what your boundaries are with someone you just met versus your best friend, or what your boundaries are with your teacher versus your parent or guardian. Because these boundaries are going to change depending on how long you've known someone, how much you trust them, and what kind of a figure they are in your life.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed talking with us about boundaries. Enjoy the rest of your session.
Bye.
Bye.